Two more bags of hot garbage are about to be dropped onto the dumpster fire that is the commercial real estate market in San Francisco. The first is the Hilton San Francisco Union Square, and the other is the Park 55 Hotel San Francisco. Park Hotel and Resorts, the owner of both buildings, announced today that they will not be making any more payments on the loan for these hotels, which will leave CMBS investors holding the bag. What's up, guys? I'm Nobody Special, and about a month ago, I made a video about this story, a fire sale for commercial properties that was going on in San Francisco, where buildings were being listed for sale for half, and in some cases, way less than half of what they went for just a few years ago. And then today, I saw this story in CoStar.com. Park Hotels and Resorts ceases payments on two San Francisco hotels. Maturing loan valued at $725 million covers the Hilton San Francisco Union Square and Park 55 San Francisco. And this is yet another case of a commercial building owner in San Francisco with a building that doesn't cash flow like it used to is about to be forced to refinance the debt on that building. He's realizing that when he refis that debt, the payments are going to be more than the cash flow from the building. And so they're just walking away from the building and handing the keys back to the bank. Tyson, Virginia-based real estate investment trust Park Hotels and Resorts this month terminated payments on a $725 million non-recourse loan for two hotels that's set to mature in November. The loan on the two hotels carries an interest rate of 4.11%. Wells Fargo is the servicer of the loan. According to a news release, Park intends to work in good faith with the loan servicers to determine the most effective path forward, which is expected to result in the ultimate removal of these hotels from its portfolio. And so Park has three choices. They can pay back $725 million for buildings that aren't worth $725 million. They can refinance the loan at today's interest rates where the payments will be much, much higher. Or they can walk away from the loan and hand the keys back to Wells Fargo and wish them good luck. And it looks like that's what they're going to do. They're claiming they're going to negotiate in good faith. But realistically, the best option for Park here is to just hand the keys back to the bank. Now, Wells Fargo isn't the owner of this loan. Wells Fargo's just the servicer. So who's actually going to take the hit? It's going to be either the pension funds, the banks, or the mutual funds that bought the commercial mortgage-backed securities that this loan was put into. This past week, we made the very difficult but necessary decision to stop debt service payments on our San Francisco CMBS loan, Park Chairman and CEO Thomas Baltimore Jr. said in the news release. After much thought and consideration, we believe it's in the best interest for Park stockholders to materially reduce our current exposure to the San Francisco market. Now more than ever, we believe San Francisco's path to recovery remains clouded and elongated by major challenges, both old and new. Record high office vacancy, concerns over street conditions, lower return to office than peer cities, and a weaker than expected citywide convention calendar through 2027 that will negatively impact business and leisure demand and will likely significantly reduce compression in the city for the foreseeable future. Unfortunately, the continued burden on our operating results and balance sheet is too significant to warrant continuing to subsidize and own these assets. So Park CEO is stating the obvious here. The business case for owning commercial property in San Francisco just isn't there anymore. Work from home means fewer people are traveling from work, which is hurting hotel demand. And the conditions on the street in San Francisco are pretty well documented. And they're talking about the citywide convention calendar here, which means no businesses are really planning on having any big events in the city for the next few years. Why is nobody going to San Francisco? Well, anecdotally speaking, I can walk around the side of my house, pop open the lid to my septic tank, and take in the same sights and smells I get in San Francisco, but without the burden or the expense of a cross-country flight. So the writing's on the wall for the hotel owners. They're just walking away from the property. It's no longer worth making the payments. So long story short, Wells Fargo is probably going to end up seizing the buildings and putting them up for sale. They're going to sell for less than half of what they were worth a few years ago, nowhere near enough to cover the $725 million loan. And so those losses will be felt by the people who bought the commercial mortgage-backed security that has this loan in it. Now, San Francisco is just ground zero for the commercial real estate bubble. What's going on here with these hotels will be happening in other cities all across the country. As commercial real estate loans mature, those loans have to be paid back or refinanced, but those buildings don't flow enough cash to make those payments, and so the owners are one by one going to walk away from these loans, leaving investors holding the bag, and barring a massive pivot from the Federal Reserve and a sudden return to zero interest rate policy, stories like this are going to keep piling up all across the country. Till next time, live small and dream big.